We are predominantly a cattle and prime lamb operation. So composite sheep, self-replacing, and we've got a self-replacing Angus herd. And we run nearly 500 breeders and around about 1,000 ewes.
Yeah. And how did you get to be a part of this demonstration project?
Look, it was something that came up with the Gippsland Agricultural Group, and Alison Gunn, she sort of spearheaded it as well. And it was just an opportunity for us to look at establishing perennial pastures in the district. We've had some consecutive dry years coming up to it, and a lot of farms were commenting that they didn't have a very good stand of perennial pastures. So we thought that would be a good opportunity to see whether we could have a few farms do a demonstration site.
Yeah, and so with this paddock that we're in at the moment, how did it come about that this was the one that was chosen?
Well, I think it was a sort of a rundown paddock, and post drought would put a sort of like a silo mix in just to try and grow some feed, and it was sort of next on the schedule to be renovated.
Yeah, so when you say renovated, how did you get to getting this back into perennial? What sort of program did you go through, and when was the paddock sown?
So we didn't have a perennial plan for this paddock as such. It was sort of a rundown native pasture, and the program was we sort of used a glyphosate to kill out any grasses during post-autumn, and then we put a cereal in, and that was the year prior to us looking at using it for the demonstration paddock.
Yeah, and did you do anything over the summer post-cereal?
No, so yeah, I think we should have probably put like a cover crop in, and maybe another clean out spray in hindsight. So it would have helped get the paddock ready for perennial pasture.
Was there key weed burdens that you were trying to target before you went in? Was there Distichum cooch, any of those, or just overgrazed and post-drought being bared out and just an opportunity? So yeah,
there was cooch thatch over this paddock, and it was overgrazed. We used it sort of as a large containment paddock post-drought, and yeah, we probably would have done a better job on the weed and grass clean out if we had had a bit more planning
before going back.
Yeah.
And do you think that with the perennial mix that you've put in, what have we actually got in here now?
So it's a pretty varied mix that we put in. I think there was about 5 species in the mix. It was called a Meat Maker 500. There was a lucerne component into it, which didn't come through at all in the establishment. There was a phalaris, which did have a good establishment initially, 3 sub clovers, and 2 tall fescues. So there was a winter and summer active.
Yeah.
And also a coxswain. So yeah, it's a pretty big mix of perennial pastures in there.
So through the establishment phase, what was the weed burdens like? Was there many? Did you have to do any cleanup sprays that might have potentially impacted the lucernes and the clovers, or?
So there was Cape weed strike that we have to use a Jaguar product over it. It was meant to be safe on the lucerne. I think too that we did have quite a wet establishment period, whether or not that impacted the lucerne establishment. And I just think trying to have lucerne in that mix with all the other competing grasses, it was a bit of a ask.
To try and manage that as well, it then becomes a bit of a challenge as well.
Yeah.
So if you were going to do the same thing again, would you take the lucerne out and use that as a separate stand somewhere else or with other companion species?
I think, yeah, take the lucerne out, and if we wanted to establish some lucerne in the mix, maybe put that as a solo crop, and then add in the grasses. But I think we didn't get a soil test prior to us planting. That was just to do with just the management and the organisation of this project. So the calcium and the pH may have impacted the lucerne as well.
Do you have underlying aluminium through here?
There is on this rig. Yeah, we've got, but it was sort of below 2% aluminium, so hopefully it wouldn't have impacted the lucerne. Also, lack of fertility in the paddock. The potassium was low and the phosphorus was low, so we've just been putting more inputs into it. Yeah, look, we can put like 1,000 ewes in here for a week and know that we're not really doing a huge amount of damage to the pasture, and yeah, it's just been a good to have this in our system, knowing it's going to be there, ready to go.
So what would be your key takeaways if you were going to do this paddock again? More time?
We would do another cropping program in summer. Probably put a higher rate of glyphosate initially, and the sowing mechanism, we only were limited at the time for speed discs with an air seeder box on the top. I think we would just use a disc drill, and that would help reduce the amount of weed burden when that would strike.
And where to from here?
I think build the fertility of the paddock. It's a lighter soil type, so organic matter and fertility will help hold that. And I think just focusing on grazing management.